almost ready to begin. So this is one more session of teaching and learning English with the Beatles. Welcome back and enjoy the Beatles songs. We continue with this record, the Beatles Volume 3. Okay, and the song is Hay un lugar, there's a place. And let me share my screen so that we begin with the song. There's a Place is a song by the English rock band, the Beatles, from their debut album, Please Please Me. Released in March 1963, it was written primarily by John Lennon and credited to McCartney Lennon. In the USA, the song was released in July 1963 on the group's first US LP introducing the Beatles. Later reissued in January 1964 as Beatlemania. Surged there, it was also issued as a non-album single in the US in March 1964 as the B-side to Twist and Shout, reaching number 74 in the Billboard Hot 100. Lennon said that There's a Place was his attempt at writing a song in the Motown style. According to Paul McCartney, the song's title phrase originated from There's a Place for Us, from the soundtrack album to the 1961 film West Side Story. The song's lyrics relate to the singer's ability to overcome his loneliness by retreating into the heaven of his mind. Into the heaven, let me be curious about heaven or haven. Heaven meaning a place of safety, of refuge. Okay? Haven. Haven is the word. Okay, very well. And the song's lyrics relate to the singer's ability to overcome his loneliness by over-retreating into the haven of his mind. There's a Place has received a favorable response from several music critics. Some reviewers admire its harmonies and recognize the lyrics as exhibiting a depth not found in contemporaneous pop songs. Some have seen it as anticipating the later introspection of the Beatles and Lennon in particular, heard in songs like I'm Only Sleeping and Tomorrow Never Knows. There's a Place was my attempt at a sort of Motown black theme. It says the usual Lennon things. In my mind, there's no sorrow. It's all in your mind. Among Beatles biographers and historians, Mark Lewison Walter Everett and Riley and Mark Hersgard credit John Lennon as the main writer of There's a Place. In a 1971 interview, Lennon identifies the song as having been written by himself. He recalled in 1980 that he was attempting to write a Motown black thing, with the lyrics saying the usual Lennon things. Music critic Ian MacDonald speculates that he was referring to the Isley Brothers, but comments that this influence but draws a comparison between soul singer and Arthur Alexander and the Marvelettes version of I Want a Guy. In his 1997 autobiography, many years from now, Paul McCartney instead recalls co-writing the song with Lennon in the front room of his childhood home on 2014 Road, but with a bias towards being his original idea, explaining that he owned a copy of the soundtrack album to the 1961 West Side Story, composed by Leonard Bernstein and Stephen Sondheim. McCartney says that he drew the phrase, there's a place from the soundtrack song, There's a Place for Us. The songs diverged in that while There's a Place for Us refers to a place around the back of the stairs for a kiss and a cuddle. And a cuddle, let me see what cuddle is. Cuddle, hold close in one's arms as a way of showing love of affection, a prolonged and affectionate long abrazo, abrazar, caricia. And they say, well, the Beatles refers to the mind. And here we have, what do we have here? Okay, for a kiss and a cuddle. Okay, that makes sense. The Beatles songs refers to the mind. Compositions. There's a place is in the key of E major and in 4/4 time. Unusually short for the Beatles, the song features only one bridge. Everett writes that it borrows aspects from the band's earlier songs. For example, he writes it takes two bar groupings that embellish I with an alternate fourth from the chorus of Love Me Do and adds it to the song's first verse from Please Please Me. It uses the same octave spanning lines of George Harrison on guitar and Lennon on harmonica. The song's opening bass note, hitting natural B, is nearly identical to that of Please Please Me, like many of the band's early singles. The song features a harmonica, playing with the vocals of the bridge like it is here on Ask Me Why. Ask me why I say I love you. Lennon and McCartney sing the song as a two-part harmony in fourths and fifths, with Lennon singing the low part and McCartney the high. There's a play, there's a play, there's a play. McCartney's high vocal stops at the end of the first and third verses, leaving Lennon momentarily alone and lead vocal, adding what musicologist Alan W. Pollack calls trill-like ornaments. George Harrison provides a backing vocal singing with McCartney while Lennon sings the lead during the variant verse following the first verse. Okay, we have to listen to the song, of course, and this is very, very interesting. The song's lyrics are written in the form of a first-person narrative. The singer declares his self-sufficiency, being able to transcend loneliness by retreating into his mind. Rather than having different verses, the lyrics repeat the verse line serving to emphasize the song's theme. Pollack described the song as paradoxically quiet tense, with the confident message of the lyrics playing against the hard-hitting, unique sonority of the E major 7 chord. Everett similarly described the song as an unusual mix of happiness and melancholia. Riley writes that its fade out provides a liberating effect through its major key, suggesting the singer has achieved respite. So the rhythm tension hints and an uneasiness below the surface that remains unresolved. Let me check respite. Let me be curious with respite. 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 A short period of rest or relief from something difficult or unpleasant. Respite. Respiro, plazo, aplazar. Respite. Okay, and then the recording, the reception, and the personnel. Let's go over the personnel. We have commented. John Lennon, vocal, harmonica, rhythm, guitar. Paul McCartney, vocal, bass. George Harrison, backing vocal, lead guitar. Ringo, drums. Okay, and I don't think we have information about covers. Reception, Campanile, there's a place in my room, Brian Wilson. Only sleeping, by me love. No, I don't think, but maybe in YouTube we can find who is covering the song. In the meantime, let's look for the lyrics. There's a place, lyrics. There's a place, the contraction for there is. Well, there's a place, hay un lugar where I can go, a donde puedo ir. When I feel low, cuando me siento bajo, like blue or depressed. When I feel low, when I feel blue, cuando me siento azul, cuando me siento triste. Remember that we relate blue to sad. And that it's my man. Y ese es mi mente. And there's no time y no hay tiempo when I'm alone, cuando estoy solo. Let me check what does Google Translate have to say about this verse. Ok, y no hay tiempo cuando estoy solo. Yeah, it's just like literal. I guess it's not that literal, but anyway, please take it like that. And that it's my mind. Y esa es mi mente, and there's no time, y no hay tiempo. When I'm alone, cuando estoy solo. I think of you, pienso en ti. And things you do, y las cosas que haces, go around my head, giran en mi mente. The things you said, las cosas que dijiste. Like I love only you, como te amo solo a ti. In my mind there's no sorrow, en mi mente no hay pesar. Don't you know that it's so? ¿No sabes que es así? There will be no sad tomorrow, no habrá triste mañana. Don't you know that it's so? ¿No sabes que es así? There's a place, allí hay un lugar where I can go when I feel low. When I feel blue, and that's my man, and there's no time when I'm alone. There's a place, there's a place, there's a place. Of course, what we can do with this song is to review the use of there. There is, there are. Interrogative is there, are there. Okay. And again, can, a possibility. We can review the use of can. We can review WH questions, where, why, when, who, and so on. Blue, excuse me, we can review colors. We can review feelings and emotions. My mind, we can review body parts. And there's no time. We can talk about time, you know, the clock, about day, night, week, month, about the time, generally speaking. When I'm alone, I think of you. Notice that we don't say I think in you or on you. We use I think of you. And things you do around my head, the things you said. And we have here a combination of tenses. Well, we just simple present and simple past. Like I love only you, como te amo solo a ti. In my mind, there's no sorrow. Don't you know that it's so? There will be no sad tomorrow. Again, with the time, tomorrow, yesterday, a day before yesterday, tomorrow, a day after tomorrow. And that's it, okay? Now, let's take a look at the verbs. Verb be, of course, is modal auxiliary can, feel, verb be again, verb be, think, do, go, say. Love, know, future with will, there will be a negative, okay? No again, and that's the stuff. Okay, very well. So as usual, I am going to add some versions of the song with the Beatles, and if I find any cover, of course, I am going to include it. I hope that you enjoy this session and that you enjoy the Beatles music, and most of all, I hope that you are practicing and applying your English. So today in Mexico, we are celebrating the Day of the Dead. I don't know too much about that, but I hope that everybody is having a good time with the death of the Day of the Dead, and tomorrow All Saints or something like that. Anyway, thank you very much for being here. Have an excellent evening and be happy with the Beatles music. Bye bye. See you. So long.